Legend of War here, and today we've got a Rating Your Doomstack video covering a Temple Guard Doomstack commanded by Gorok within the Cult of Sotek. We are getting so many more like cavalry and melee infantry based Doomstacks being sent in Warhammer 3 than we ever were in Warhammer 2. Like this in Warhammer 2 would have just been thrown out and been like, no way would this be rated as a Doomstack. But in Warhammer 3, maybe. Now I can't remember the exact boost that Gorok provides to Temple Guard, but I know he provides something to them. We're going up against 4 armies of greenskins, so a hell of a lot of force there. I'm not sure if it's endgame crisis stuff, just not sure. But this army here is armed to the teeth. Yeah, we've got 3 rogue idols coming in, stone trolls, doom diver catapults. That's super dangerous. Skarsnik's army is not that big of a deal, and it's just there's just a lot of enemies coming in, and because it's melee infantry, right? Melee infantry are low utility, so they just need to be strong. And what I mean by low utility is they only have one job, and that's go into fight and either hold back the enemy or kill the enemy. So these guys are anti-large, they've got alright stats, you can see they've been boosted a fair bit. And we've got some heroes over here with beast magic. Now, beast magic is never going to be used to be able to just destroy the entire enemy all in one go with amazing spells, but they are on Engines of the Gods, so we do have the beam cannon thing. And we've got a Skin Coracle. We should always have a Skin Coracle in the army. I think it would have been good if one of them had been a Heavens Wizard, but I don't necessarily disagree with this. Let's jump in here and see how we go. Oh, right. The Auto Resolve also loses 3 of these in Auto Resolve, so we have to do better than that. Now, in these sort of Rate Your Doomstack videos, where we've got a Doomstack that is clearly a lot of effort has been put into it and needs to be used a certain way, and we're going up against an army, well, armies that has a lot of variety in it, coming at us from different angles. I always have to ask myself, how should I do this to properly showcase how good or bad this Doomstack is? And sometimes I give the AI an advantage, like I hold myself back a little bit, don't use my army abilities, I let them get set up or whatever, and I largely make that decision on how strong I initially feel the army that I've been sent in is, and also how strong the enemy we're going up against. If we're going up against a really strong enemy, I'll not cheese the battle, or I'll not try particularly hard. But in this situation here, we are going up against a lot, right? And the player doing this would normally do this a certain way. Like, we're pincered here, you would, most of the time, camp at this spot here and fight these guys because we have got really good tools for dealing with it, and we can showcase how good the Temple Guard actually are at dealing with backhand reinforcements like this. Now, if we were to charge in front on here, we will find ourselves pincered middle of the battle, and it will probably decimate our forces. And while I didn't choose the battle, people will otherwise say, but you didn't use it properly. So you're kind of juggling between those two complaints there. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. However, I think the person who sent this in wants me to showcase how good it is, so we're going to do what's intended in this situation. And what's intended is to camp at this reinforcement zone and wreck their reinforcements before these guys have a chance to do anything about it. So what we're going to do here... Hang on. What's going on? What we're going to... What's going on? Why can't I move my forces forward there? What we're going to do... Move our guys up to here. Oh, they were facing the wrong way, that's why. What we're going to do is camp at this spot here. Not too close, though. Right, give them a bit of room to set up. They'll probably use some spinning loons. And what we want to be doing is destroying them with burning alignment. Have these guys hold them in place and then use burning alignment, so that we're using the heroes and the units to work as a team, which is what I said, that you should build your armies to have good teamwork. Maybe I can get in a little bit closer. Now, the guys on the flank here, they don't need to be standing there. Let's start moving them into this position because I expect to get hit in the rear at some point. So we've also got some army abilities here. So what I'm going to do is not use them in this particular battle, the army abilities. I don't think I need to. And we can showcase this army without using those overpowered abilities. Okay. I mean, these are abilities as well. Thing is, these ones here, they're unique to the Cult of Sotek. Everything else that we do isn't. Okay. Took a bit of damage there. Do some healing. Come over there. Anyone that's not in combat, get ready over here a little bit. Now, we took a little bit of damage there, but if we have a look, the Temple Guard put these guys in a position where it was just very easy to use the solar beam stuff there and absolutely smash them. But even after we've defeated this, we still have a lot to deal with. Okay, we can use Pants and Pelt if we want, or the Curse of Anra here, but I think we're fine here for the time being. Alright, this guy's coming in. Yeah, Gorok, get over there. Need to kill this guy. Okay, we're braced here. Let them charge in. They've got charge reflect. Oh, they're good. Look at that. They're sending in their archers into melee there. So they're so desperate to try to stop us. Okay, we ready for another one of these? Not yet. Got these abilities here. Just choosing not to use them. Okay, do some healing. Enemy Lord's dead. Awesome. I don't know why he doesn't have the Comet of Casadora ability on that one. Wait, no. Get back over here. Get back over here. Stay together. Right, ready yet? Here we go. Angle it a little bit this way so it goes off the map so it doesn't hit our own units. Okay, you get in there, need to use that Helm of Discord. Of course, we want Gorok fighting in amongst the units. You know, he's not going to be able to kill the entire army by himself. Not in this situation, anyway. Okay, we got more here. Cool. So, yeah, we're about to get pincered. But most of these forces here have been dealt with. Not all, but most. Okay, you go hit that over there. So Temple Guard, they don't have huge charge bonuses, so we don't necessarily need to charge on it. Yeah, spinning loons. We have no way of, like, stopping that from hitting us. We just can mitigate it by not blobbing up, which we're not blobbed up there. Okay, but anyone who took massive amounts of damage needs to be sort of protected a bit. Right, have we got any more? Okay, last one. Make it count. Gorok's doing just fine there. Nice. Alright, let's use a Pan's Impenetrable Pelt here. Still more coming in through this way. Alright, let's get one of those in there. And maybe Curse of Enra here. Debuff him. That's it, just keep bracing. Okay, this guy here's maybe taking a bit too much damage. Let's pull him back a bit. Rogue Idol coming in. This one here has taken a lot of damage. I'm going to move that back and move somebody else that's in much better shape over here to the front. You go deal with the easier stuff. Alright, I'm out of solar beam stuff now. Actually, how about you shoot at the Rogue Idol? I'm going to overcast this so you get area of effect. This guy is taking a fair bit of damage. Let's pull him back over here. Okay, I need some more over here. This is getting a bit dicey. How about you get in there and Flock of Doom them. Yeah, get another fresher unit over here. We got to make sure that none of our units get wiped out. And how about popping them down with a little bit of healing? Okay, I need more Flocks of Doom. Get rid of all this. Okay, he's getting shot at. This guy is in the worst shape, same thing there. Gorok, need your help. Alright, that is the last of the stuff that is coming in from our rear. We're no longer pincered. Okay, now, take everything that is looking particularly damaged. Let's just keep them in reserve for the time being. If things start looking a little bit dicey, we can put them back in. Oh, army losses. That's a little bit earlier than I thought. And the rogue idols are unbreakable, so gotta still fight them off. Bit of magic left. You should be shooting them. And then we just need to have a look at the damage numbers and see overall how they did. But I think this is definitely a better result than auto-resolve. Whether it gives us a heroic victory, a Pyrrhic victory, I'm not sure. I think it's pretty likely it's going to be Pyrrhic. We did take a lot of casualties. Could be interesting as well to get a revivification engine Bastiladon to help revive casualties, although it's fairly slow at doing that. The heroes are mostly in good shape. There we go. Try to heal the heroes as much as possible so that we can increase our chance of not getting a Pyrrhic victory, although I think we just took too many casualties. If we have a look at it, how many units are actually under half strength, half numbers, right? We've got one, that one's not, 1, 2, 3. Just 3 units fell below half numbers. Okay, we're not getting any more healing done there. Healing these guys here won't do anything. Close victory. Cool, at least it wasn't a Pyrrhic victory, so it did do better than what the auto-resolve said it was going to do. Alright, looking at the damage numbers there. You know, these guys went up against a fair bit there. And they've all got really high numbers of kills. And the ones that probably are under 100, those might have been the ones that were fighting the rogue idols. But we'll have a look at the actual damage numbers and see what was going on. We also got to keep in mind that some of them weren't fighting the whole time, and some of them were. Now, in the hypothetical situation, if we had let all of their reinforcements come at us, so for example, if we had just moved our army to the side and just let them come in and attack us, we definitely wouldn't have gotten as good a result. Would we have won? Possibly. Hard to say, though. So wait until this turn here is over, and then have a look at what he's done. Now, full disclosure, this guy sent in this Doomstack before, and he had Croak in it, and I told him to take Croak out of the army. Because any Lizardman Doomstack that is called, like, Temple Guard Doomstack, but it has Croak in it, Croak is always going to be, like, the leading man. And so, if we're going to properly test a Doomstack, you shouldn't be putting unique stuff that you can only get one of in that Doomstack, unless it is specifically revolved around that unit. No, none of the stuff here matters. Now, of course, Croak would have made the army stronger, but we already know that Croak is super strong, and we're not necessarily here to showcase the strongest possible army that you can make with Lizardmen. If that's the case, you wouldn't be recruiting Temple Guard, because they're not the strongest possible army you can make with Lizardmen. There's so much more utility that you can get out of Lizardmen than Temple Guard. Did they do a good job? Yes, they definitely did do a good job. But we don't need a test of Croak. We know he could have gotten heaps of kills. You know, getting a bunch of heroes is not a big deal. Getting them at high level, also not difficult. I'm still pretty surprised they didn't get this one here. That could have been fairly useful to us in this battle here, but that's fine. Right, now let's quickly have a look at Gorok and see what he does, because it might be better to use Temple Guard with someone else. Let's have a look. So, melee defense +5 for Temple Guard units. And that's it. Spell resistance for the entire... Speed is good, I guess. But what else could you have gotten here? Reduce upkeep cost. Yeah, well, the speed is definitely useful, but we didn't use this army to rush at the enemy. We held our ground at the start. Reduced upkeep cost definitely has a lot of value in it. So in terms of price, it costs 9,000. These units are 351 each. If we have a look at some of his other armies, we've got Tehenwan over here with an army that's cheaper, that's like a full hero army. But it's also quite possible that these heroes here have Lottle Bottle dudes in it. Yeah, so that's what's happening here. They're reducing their upkeep cost significantly. They wouldn't normally be that expensive. If we have a look at Gorok, he doesn't even have a Lottle Bottle there. So that could reduce it by 20%. Doesn't have one there. Doesn't have one. No. So he hasn't attempted to reduce the upkeep cost on this at all. Which I think is good, because that's only for the Cult of Sotek, so you get an idea of how much it would cost if you weren't using this particular Lizardman faction. We've got to keep in mind as well the Totem Pole of Destiny. That is a banner that's only for the Cult of Sotek. Like I said before, Cult of Sotek is really, really strong. Has a difficult start, but is really strong. At least it was difficult in Warhammer 2, not so much in Warhammer 3. So how would I rate this? Let's have a look. Just having to think. So, I think that Gorok may actually be better off with Blessed Saurus Warriors as opposed to Temple Guard. He'll be able to provide them a lot more bonuses, and you can actually make the Temple Guard... Now, I'm not talking about Temple Guard with spears, but the regular Temple Guard. Something's a bit weird with regular Temple Guard. Blessed Temple Guard. Blessed Saurus Warriors, where something happens with them where their weapon strength goes through the roof. I wish I could show you somehow, if he's got any. Of course, there's no guarantee you're going to go through the entire campaign and even up to this point and have enough to get a full stack of them. But if you have a look here, the Blessed Saurus Warriors with shields, this is in Tehenwan's army, has 69 weapon strength, right? Compared to 46 with the Blessed Temple Guard there. Now, I know that Blessed Temple Guard have anti-large, right, and more armor piercing, but their melee attack is the same. They do have more melee defense. These are cheaper as well, and you can boost the Blessed Saurus Warriors just better than you can with Gorok. That's my personal recommendation, but you know, getting Blessed units can be time consuming. I don't actually recommend getting Blessed Temple Guard over regular Temple Guard. So, in terms of practicality, we also need to keep in mind as well that these units here take 2 turns to recruit. That is a big consideration. Things that take 2 turns to recruit take longer to recruit, and therefore you take longer before you're out in the action. Whereas regular Saurus Warriors can be recruited in 1 turn, so you can keep moving and fighting and then replacing your casualties much quicker. That also means globally recruiting a Saurus Warrior is a lot easier than globally recruiting a... Hang on, let me get out of this siege here. Yeah, you can globally recruit a Saurus Warrior in 1 turn, but 3 turns global recruitment for Temple Guard. This is the kind of stuff you need to take into consideration when building melee infantry armies, because every now and again, you're just going to lose a unit. There'll either be an auto-resolve that you can't be bothered with, or you're going to fight a battle, and one of your units is going to get nuked by Skaven, or just ganked up on by super strong infantry, and it's going to get wiped out. That just happens in everyone's campaign, right? And you're going to want to replace your units. Sitting around in a camp stance for 3 turns is not good whatsoever. Now, you can get this probably down to 1 turn, but you've got to take forever and, like, finish off the... he's already researched that as well. So he hasn't yet built enough of recruitment buildings to reduce it by globally by 1. So you should be able to get that down to 1 soon. Well, get it down by an additional 1, I mean. So yeah, in terms of practicality, it's a little bit on the lower end of things. And also, Temple Guard are a tier 4 unit. Well, they were in Warhammer 3, I'm pretty sure. Sorry, Warhammer 2. Let me just check. These are things we got to take into consideration. Yeah, they're a tier 4 unit, whereas Saurus Warriors with shields are a tier 3. Now, there's a big difference between getting to tier 3. Like, you can get to tier 3 really quickly. Tier 4 takes a significantly longer amount of time. Also, you can build these in minor cities where that has to be built in a major settlement. Things to keep in mind. So you're going to get a Temple Guard-based Doomstack a lot later than you will with... where was he? Than you will with Saurus Warriors with shields. Now, I know Temple Guard are technically slightly stronger than Saurus Warriors, especially not with Gorok. But with Gorok, I kind of feel like you should go Saurus Warriors. So, in terms of practicality, I'm going to go medium-low for this. I just don't feel like it's that practical. I've used Gorok's Saurus Warrior Doomstack before, well into the late game, and it works just fine. So, and the great thing about it is that you take some casualties, just replace it super easy. Replaceable armies are very useful. So this one here, I just don't feel it for practicality. In terms of strength, it is very strong. We did take a lot of damage. It's not the strongest thing ever. The situation, we handled it. I didn't cheese it. I did cheese it a little bit by camping at their reinforcement spot. So strength, I'm going to go somewhat medium. We've seen way stronger armies than this. We've also seen weaker ones. In terms of ease of use, it's pretty easy to use it. Melee infantry, typically speaking, are very easy to use, which is why I think a lot of players do gravitate towards it. But one of the things with Warhammer 2 and Warhammer 3 is that melee infantry, for the most part, have low utility, which is why I've always sort of advised against getting melee infantry, because this is a game that, if you're good at it, you know how to utilize high utility units well. And if you're not good at it, then learning to use melee infantry isn't going to help you get better at the game, because these guys here don't have special abilities, not particularly fast. Their combat is dictated to what charges into them, not what they charge into most of the time. Sometimes you just don't get a choice of what they're going to fight. Which is why I usually value the high utility units like archers or cavalry or monsters. If there's a unit you don't want to deal with, you just avoid it. If there's a unit that you want to particularly pinpoint and shoot, you do that. Melee infantry, the enemy dictate how they're going to fight, not they get to dictate how they're going to fight. And that's a big distinction in battles where it's not to your favor. But overall, I think you did a good job building this Doomstack. But I just feel as though Gorok should have Saurus Warriors. Even though he does boost Temple Guard, Saurus Warriors do get a lot more benefit for him, because physical resistance is especially good when added with the Cult of Sotek. Getting to 20% is much better than 10%. So I think there's just a lot that's being missed out here by going this. And it's also more expensive. So if he hadn't done this, he could have gotten a different army. Another army that could have assisted elsewhere. I think it's just not super efficient. But if you enjoy using Temple Guard, that's fine. I probably just wouldn't put it in Gorok's army. I'd put it somewhere else. Maybe even Mazdamundi. Mazdamundi reduces the upkeep cost of Temple Guard by 50%. Maybe that is a better choice. And due to the reduced supply lines for Warhammer 3, you could have Mazdamundi have a really cheap Temple Guard army. And I value cheap army just as much as I value a strong army, because a cheap army means that you have money for more armies, which will help you in your campaign. And that is something I take into consideration with these Doomstacks in terms of practicality. Even if it's not the strongest thing in the world, it's not taking on 4 full stacks, if it's dirt cheap, I'll give it lenience for that in terms of practicality. Anyway, that's my rating there. I think it was pretty thorough with that, but let me know in the comments below if there's anything that you think I missed out. I'm trying to be as thorough as possible with these ones here. Do appreciate this one being sent in, and hope you guys enjoyed that battle and have enjoyed, these rating Doomstacks. Appreciate you guys. That's the end of this one, and I'll see you next time, fuckers. Bye.